Hello again, friends, and welcome to another episode here at Doc G's Wine and Spirits Review. I hope you had a chance to take in some of the video clips that I provided for you from our Toast to Friends 15 party. We all had a great time, and if you get a chance to look at them, I think you'll learn something about some good food and wine pairings. So as we approach I read somewhere that August 1st, a couple days ago, was the actual midpoint of summer. So with that in mind, I'd like to feature for you today a drink that features some herbs that I like to grow during the summer, and in the middle of the summer here they are now flourishing. I'm also debuting for the first time my own signature cocktail. So I'm going to give you the name of it, and then I'm going to demonstrate it for you here, and I'm going to sip it with you. The name of my cocktail is called the Doc G Lemon Basil Ginlet. And if you're aware of the drink called the Ginlet, that is also a gin-based drink, but it has lime. So I'm doing a little bit of a riff on the Ginlet, and I'm going to present to you my own lemon basil Ginlet, or Ginlet. So I have here on the table all the ingredients that you would need to make this. So the drink contains fresh basil, it contains lemon juice, a gin, and I'll talk about that in a minute, some simple syrup, and then of course some ice. So the proportions I will share with you as I'm making the drink here, and then I will post them afterwards. So let's begin. The first thing that you need to do, and also tonic water, I forgot to add that, is to have yourself a good shaker and get yourself some fresh basil. Maybe I'll take a picture of all the basil that I have in my backyard. It's like growing like it's in a forest. So I have some of my fresh basil here. This is an Italian basil. And what you need to do is take a couple leaves of it and throw it in the bottle, in the bottom of your shaker, or whatever you use, and you muddle it first to release the essence of the basil in the bottom of the shaker. And you can, it's like a basil bomb in there. And then you just get that good and smashed. I can't show you, but I can see the basil actually looks like it's releasing oils and juice in the bottom of the shaker here. So we'll take that out, and then what you do is you add all of your ingredients except for the tonic water, so that you can let the basil juice that's in the bottom of this mix with the ingredients. So the key ingredients that you're going to mix are 2 ounces of gin, 3/4 of an ounce of your preferred lemon juice. If you want to fresh squeeze it, you can. 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup. I actually use stevia simple syrup to keep the calorie count down. It's still kind of sweet, but it does help to keep the calories down. And the gin that I've chosen for this cocktail today is one that I've had. It's called Citadel, and it's a French gin. And this is actually their Jardin d'été, being that it's the summer. For those of you that speak a little French, that means summer garden. And this one actually is infused with lemon, lime, and some other botanicals, orange zest. It's a very citrus-forward gin, which is one that I recommend for this drink to help mix with the lemon that you're going to put in it. So let's add our gin. Pour that in there. Set that aside. Give your lemon juice a little bit of a shake. 3/4 of an ounce. Pour that in. Set that aside. Take your simple syrup, same amount. Pour that in. We won't need that anymore. And then, of course, take some ice. And really then give it a good shake. So it can infuse the basil, the gin, and the simple syrup. I would say about a good 20 to 30-second shake to really mix it up. So One of the things that you want to do when you use drinks like this, where you're going to grind up and smash some herbs in it, is to use a strainer. So what I recommend is after you shake that up, take a small cocktail glass or rocks glass. There's not a lot of volume in this. This isn't like a 10-ounce drink. You don't really need a lot. So get some of that ice out of there. Then you take your drink, you shake it. I'm actually going to use a strainer, which is a simple device I'm sure many of you have, to catch the broken basil bits. And you can see them in there. It's catching all of them. And then the last ingredient in this cocktail is a tonic. And whatever tonic you want to use, I use diet tonic, again, to keep the sugar down. And really 2 to 3 ounces of this is just enough to smooth out, because it's pretty strong in the concentration. And then you take yourself a basil sprig, a little wedge of lemon, top it off, and put that in there. Cheers. So let me taste it for you and give you the reaction and the profile of this wonderful, refreshing summer drink. The basil on your nose there helps awaken the basil in the drink. It's nice and clean and crisp. I don't know what the star of the show is. It's hard to say. They kind of all blend together, and the star of the show is actually the entire cocktail. So what I would recommend for you to do, if you're interested in this, is you can experiment with different gins. You can experiment with different basils. And the rest of it is pretty standard. You can vary your tonic, but that's really not going to have much of an effect on the drink. I wouldn't recommend using much more basil, because then it turns in, you probably get a little, can't even describe the word, but it'll get a little overbearing. Another option that you can use, and one that I tried when I was experimenting with this drink, is if you can find a basil called lemon basil. It literally has a combination, when you rub it on the leaves, a smell of lemon and basil together. I actually made one. I think this one is a little bit better. The lemon basil really jumps out, but it allows you to experiment a little bit more with another variation of basil. And the gin that I have, again, you can see on the bottle, it's a very citrus forward gin. I would just recommend that you do that with a citrus forward gin. I wouldn't recommend like a Hendrick's or some gins that have, it says right on the bottle, this is like more an orange based gin. You want to get one that features a little bit of lemon in the blend of the gin. So let me take another sip for you here, because the longer this sits, actually, even the basil that's here in the glass, it starts to infuse into the drink. And half an hour from now, if it lasts that long, but you never know, you might get busy and come back to it, the basil will tend to infuse even more deeply into the blend. Actually, the lemon is actually starting to pop on this as well. Long story short, it's just a very refreshing summer cocktail, one that I hope you'll give a try once I post the recipe. It's really not difficult to make. I'm sure many of you you don't have to go to the supermarket. I would recommend you grow your own backyard basil if you have your own backyard basil, use it. If not, you can go to the supermarket and get it. But I think the basil that I have in my yard is much stronger than the stuff that you buy in the supermarket. So until the next time, here's a little preview. This coming weekend, I have another summer feature for you, a summer food and wine pairing that is also based on the harvest of some of the fresh produce right here from my backyard. So until we see you for that segment, cheers and happy midsummer.